All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we are live in full effect right here, right now, and we got, in my personal opinion, we have one of the best MCs to ever grace the East Coast hip hop community. We got Pudgee, the Phat bastard, right here, live on the line. How you doing this evening, Pudgee?
What's going on, bro?
I gotta say, first and foremost, Pudgee, before we dive into this interview, I have been a fan of your music for years, so just thank you so much in advance for giving us a little bit of your time this evening.
Nah, not a problem. I appreciate you interviewing me.
But I gotta ask you, Pudgee, like taking you back to the beginning of your career, man, like what actually sparked and inspired Pudgee to actually get into the music industry initially?
You know what? I heard UTFO and Roxanne's Revenge, and they were going into a lot of people who listening right now that may not make sense, but they were an old dope group in the beginning of hip hop, and they were having battle records against each other. And I just liked the way they were going back and forth with dissing each other, you know, which is, to me, one of the best elements of hip-hop.
Oh, man, undoubtedly, I completely agree with you, man. You can never go wrong with that hit kind of hip-hop right there.
Exactly. So this record's for me. This is the thing. Writing rhymes then. I didn't tell anybody that I was writing rhymes then. And, yeah, that was, I guess, the start of me wanting to be an actual MC. You know what I mean? That's what sparked the fire, I guess the braggadocious style of getting at each other in lyrics.
And obviously, like nowadays with artists, man, like they can have like a cell phone and make a dope, and they think they can make a dope song realistically. But I gotta ask you, like in the '90s, you know what I mean, like '90s, like late '80s. What was the process like to actually get a song heard? Like, what steps did you really have to do? That way, these young artists that are listening, they can really know what you really had to do back in the day.
It was really hard. I mean, a lot of us had two tape decks, and you played the beat on one tape deck and recorded yourself on the other tape deck, and you just had to be a flawless MC, so you didn't mess the tape up and rap straight through, kind of like how the old R&B groups did. And then you played that as your demo. And then slowly it evolved to like 4 tracks where they could put the music on 2 tracks so it would be stereo. And then they record you on 2 tracks and have to keep bouncing you if you had ad-libs. So it was an arduous, really hard process to become a recorded MC.
And also, man, in the early '90s, you actually signed to Giant Records. I was wondering, how did yourself and that record deal come to be? And of course, what was it like just working for Giant Records?
You know what? Okay, so it's a 2-part. So let me answer the first part. The first part is it took a lot of work to get there. It's not like today, like you said. I was doing a lot of mixtapes, demos, mixtapes, ciphers, rhyming with people. And then DJ Clue and I did a whole, run where I was on all the intros to all his mixtapes. And he was like the first DJ to put mixtapes on a CD. And at that point, things just started going crazy, man. And the awareness happened. And then my cousins, they put my logo that I had created on stickers and put them all over trains. And slowly but surely, everything kind of connected. So people were like, "Who's Pudgee the Phat Bastard?" And then they would hear me on the mixtapes, and it kind of it developed its own legs. You know, I had a little cult following. And then my god sister, she had been tired of me trying to get a deal, and she called the track masters, and I got on the phone with them, and they listened. In 3 weeks after recording with them, I had a record deal. It was really Alex. I spoke with Alex Richburg from the Trackmasters, and I'm working with Frankie from the Trackmasters now. And they reminded me that Thursday I came in and did demos, and Wednesday I had a deal with Giant Warner Brothers.
I gotta say, that's pretty huge. You know what I mean? It just shows right then and there. Once they heard you, they're like, we want this guy.
Yeah, it was. But like we say to people, even about now, everybody's like, "Oh, they came out of nowhere." But no one just came out of anywhere. People were working to the point that it was listenable, working to the point that it was recordable, and then working to the point that people would actually care about projects they were slowly releasing and then gaining a fan base. So to me, it's the same process. Before, I was working to the point where I was a professional recording artist, and then people found value in what I was doing to sign me and give me the credibility to be an actual recording artist, and it's the same thing today. So I respect the process then, and I respect the process now.
And when you said working back in the day, man, it's true. Because even for instance, promotion alone, that's not even including the music and whatnot. Just promoting the project was ridiculously difficult back in the day. Because it wasn't just Instagram where you just slap a flyer up. You really had to get out there and slap flyers all over the city.
Yeah, which a lot of people got fines for. What they called snipes back in the days. You know, we put them up on the highways, on the trains, everywhere people would go, defacing public property to, have our awareness increase.
Hey, but you know what? At the end of the day, the fines are pretty well worth it as well. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you putting them up there, even if you get caught, you're still actually getting some more potential listeners. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and to me, it shows dedication. If you're willing to, take a fine or take whatever consequences come with promotion, that really says you believe in what the hell you're doing.
And also, man, in 1993, you dropped my personal favorite album by you titled Give 'Em the Finger, man. I gotta ask you, what's the story and inspiration behind that phenomenal record?
Man, so Give 'Em the Finger, there's so much to that story. Before we continue, if you will, allow me, I want to send my prayers out to DMX and his family in this moment, because he's not well and he's in the hospital. And he's a very, very, very long-time dear friend of mine. So please, I just want to pay my respects to him in this interview.
I most definitely agree, man. I gotta say, DMX is another one of my favorite artists, man. I still can't believe that news, man. Like, I still can't really grasp the concept that we might lose DMX. I hope we don't. Like, I've been praying that we don't. It's like, it's DMX, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I never thought I'd ever see this day.
Absolutely, and I'm sure we'll touch on that again. But to answer your question directly, Give 'Em the Finger, the title actually is exactly what it was about. I was giving a finger to anybody who didn't, I don't know if we're cursing on here, so...
We're allowed. We're completely uncensored.
Okay, so anybody who didn't fuck with my music, it was fuck you. And that's still I am today. Anybody who didn't want me to succeed or my team to succeed, it was fuck you. And that's what my logo represented. And it took on a life of its own because people were able to kind of adopt that mantra and use my logo to give a big finger to anybody who wasn't rocking with them in any sense. That's really what the album was about. The songs itself, man, I guess people tell me back in the days I was angry. I don't remember it, but I had a lot of stuff going on, family stuff. Friends, a lot of my friends were murdered. So maybe I was angry, but it did help me find my voice in music, I still like that delivery. I still like that intensity. I still like that commitment to lyric and the space that exists for you to be passionate about delivering lyrics. So for me, whether I was angry or not, Give 'Em the Finger came out of a place that truly was committed to hip-hop and to what I was saying. And all the songs on there, the titles, like Keep Your Coat On, I was listening to the other day. And, a lot of people still hit me up on Instagram or call me or interview me about that as one of the songs. And that song was dedicated to other MCs. And I was just like, you're not going to be here for long, so keep your coat on. And the whole album was just a big fuck you to everybody else.
And I gotta say, the one song that actually really drew me to the album, man, and because I love inspirational lyrics, man, that you can really sit back and go, fuck, like this guy's spitting the truth. And I'm pretty sure you saw it by the promo video that I actually been pushing out alongside the flyer. But check out The Avenue, man. It's probably my personal opinion, man. It's probably one of the most lyrical songs of the 90s, man, because the words that you actually say in that song, I mean, it describes the streets and what you as an individual were going through, man, just living on the streets of New York.
Here's the thing about music. I think even though you're present when you're doing it, you really don't know what type of energy you're pouring into the universe and the culture and history at the same time. And that song, for me, it came out of a place of, I guess, true experience. And even so much that when I had moved to the Bronx, I took the video back to Harlem I was born. And, you know, I just wanted everything about that to be true to my experience. And most of my street tales that I learned in that period were in Harlem growing up. So when I listen to the lyrics now, I'm kind of in awe of who I was then. Because, you know, if we don't have, a lot of people have a way to document the presence of mind at whatever age they were at. Even when you're a child and your parents show you videos of yourself, you don't know who you were. So when I see that video and I listen to the lyrics, I'm definitely floored by me talking about the human experience in urban areas, if you will. Yeah, I'm forever changed by listening to that every time I listen to it. It just continues to amaze me. I didn't know I was that conscious, if you will.
And I can be honest as well, man, because I remember as well, like even at the beginning of the song, right, when he goes like living in the big city, like you just have that that it really makes the listeners kind of like stop what they're doing and look, you know what I mean? Just the the energy, it really draws you into the song.
So again, as a writer then, I was writing from the heart, but when I listen now, I'm like, living in the big city is where I come from, not the slums, but where poor is many more than none. I mean, I was really saying that we're living in an overpopulated area, so it's not torn down, it's not horrible, we don't hate it here, but the population is dense and we're literally on top of each other. And that's where poor is many more than none. It was a lot. The ratio of people who weren't doing well was, you know, compared to other places where no one's poor, it was different. When I listen to those lyrics, I'm definitely blown away. I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you how much I'm polarized by me then and me now.
And also as well, man, the last question I got pertaining to Checking Out the Avenue is actually, I read that song is actually the reason why yourself and the late great Tupac actually became close friends. And I was wondering, like, what's the actual story behind that? And of course, like, what was it like just being friends with the phenomenal Tupac?
So, the interesting thing about it is he was a phenomenal Tupac before the world got a hold of him. Stretch, you know, this story is important to me because from the Live Squad, which is a group that Ed Lover brought out, of Ed Lover and Dr. Dre fame, I think they were on Tommy Boy. He was a friend of mine, and I was playing him my demos all the time, and he heard Checking Out the Avenue, which is like one of the first songs I did with Trackmasters, Frankie from Trackmasters, Frank Nitty. He went crazy, and then he was like, I need a copy of that. Of course, everything was on cassette, so it took me like 2 days to get back to him with a copy. I had to go home, make a copy, blah, blah, blah. And next thing I knew, he was calling me saying that he's going to Atlanta, and this dancer wants to meet me, and is just in love with the song. And back then, I think it meant everything to me that anybody cared about my lyrics. That's all I really wanted from people. So I said, yeah, sure. So we ended up in Atlanta, and we went to the hotel room, and Pudgee walked up to me and hugged me and was like, yo, that's song. And he just kept talking about the song. And from then on, we were like brothers, inseparable. And it was crazy. It was crazy. So the song bonded us. This was before he was a rapper. He was just writing poetry in his books. You know what I'm saying? So when he says on one of his songs, he says, give him the finger, he's talking about me.
That was back when Tupac was MC New York, correct? Or was this after he moved to like Marin City?
Right. Right.
But also as well, man, you actually got the opportunity to collaborate in 1995 with Notorious B.I.G. on a track called Something Big. And I was wondering, man, how did yourself and Biggie Smalls actually get connected? And of course, what was it like working with the King of New York?
Very interesting thing. Biggie and I knew each other before both of us had a deal. And we were always at clubs together, and we would always be calling each other. We'd always be hanging out in the same spots. We frequented the tunnel together. We would play each other demos. Okay, so we did another song before that people don't know about called The Nine Dog MCs, where we were on a song with Positive K, Positive K, Snaggerpuss, Grand Poobah, Sean, who's a friend of ours, a whole bunch of people. Anyway, that's on YouTube. It's called The Nine Dog MCs. But we always said, and he wasn't on at the time. He was just starting to work with Puff and everything. And he said, yo, we got to do a song together. You and I know, but we got to have the right beat. We got to be a classic. And I never defined the beat that I thought was on the level of our artistry, especially for a collab. So by the time I was working on my second album, I was closing it out, and Missy and I did a joint, Nicole Ray, DMX and I did 2 joints. Everybody was working on that album. And he and I a whole bunch of people. So I still didn't have a joint for us, so I was telling Minnesota, the producer, shout out to Minnesota, I was like, Biggie and I want to do a song for my album, but we don't have no track, and I'm not going to just do a regular song. It has to be a classic. So he said, well, I have this song, and you just got to keep Lord Tariq on it. And I said, okay. And he played it for me, and I hated the beat. Everybody, you'll see this story everywhere. I hated it. It wasn't for me. I liked musical tracks. I liked, at that time, you know, I liked a lot of the melodic stuff. And to me, it felt like noise, and plus, Dr. Dre and Snoop used it for Rat-A-Tat-Tat, and I'm not a copycat. So I was like, they used that sample over there. I don't want that. But my team was like, if you don't use this beat, we're going to fuck you up. My whole crew was bugging. So I was like, y'all like this beat? It sounds like industrial madness. And they was like, yo, this beat is incredible. So shout out to my team. But I called Biggie, and Biggie said, oh, it's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And next thing I know, we went in the studio. He, myself, Akinelli, a whole bunch of people, and we just started recording the song. And, I mean, Biggie killed it. He really came through for me, man. I can't even explain how. I like the fact that it was a long talked about collaboration, and it really, I feel like I hit the target on it. You know, I didn't waste. Salt from Salt and Pepper always told me the idea of doing a collaboration is to further both careers, not to just do a song because the person's in the room. And I feel like I did that, and I took what she said, and I took what the goal was and accomplished it. You know, sadly, he passed away. It was a video. And we had issues with the sample because of the Hathaway family, because we were cursing on the record. But that could have been worked out. You know, we did a remix with Sadat. I didn't like the track as much, but Max Goose made that happen. I don't know if you know him. He's the one who signed me to Giant, and then signed B2K, and he signed to Dina Howard, and he has Saweetie now and B. Bozeman. So he was the one who signed me at Giant, and then when I left Giant, he picked me up with his company, Mechadon, and I ended up being signed to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Hold on one second. Living in the big city, Sorry. Yeah, that's the sounds of living in the big city. So, yeah, so shout out to Max Goose for believing in me enough to give me a second deal with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, which is how all those songs, you know, Think Big and songs like that happen. Yeah, I'm so grateful for the people that have, you know, helped my career in any way.
And also, when we're still on the topic of Biggie Smalls, man, I was reading an article on Observer where they actually highlighted 10 Biggie Smalls songs that actually proved he was the greatest. And Think Big was actually number 7 on that list. I was wondering, how does it feel knowing a song that you did with him proved that he was one of the greatest MCs of all time?
It's funny, man. There's so many nuances to the Biggie and our relationship. Again, we knew each other before we both had deals. We were friends throughout many tragedies, and then I don't know if you're aware of Tupac putting me in the middle of the heated situation with them where he did the Hit 'Em Up video, and he shouts out me and Naughty by Nature and Smith & Wesson. So that put a whole nother light on everything, especially since I'm from New York. So for Biggie and my relationship to remain unchanged, and for me to be cemented in history with the good things in his career, it more than resonates in the way that I wanted to, because it could have went left. You know, I could have been caught up in the embroiled battle between the two of them, and that's not what I was looking for. Pac and I, we had 2 different relationships. Biggie and I were super music friends, and Pac and I were super friends in spirituality. So, you know, our bonds were different. You know, I would call Biggie at odd times. Like I called him one night, and Faith answered the phone, and she said, "Biggie's not here. I'm losing my mind because they just stole my my Toyota 4Runner, whatever it was." So our relationships were different. I would call Pac, and we would talk about haters and how to avoid haters and things like that.
And also as well, aside from like you actually being an MC, you were actually a producer as well. And I noticed that you actually wrote 5 songs on Lisa Left Eye's 2001 solo record titled Supernova. I was wondering if you could tell our listeners a bit more about that project, and of course, what was it like just working in the studio with the late great Lisa Left Eye?
So Left Eye, man. I mean, I think everyone knows Left Eye was. Can you check in there, Julius, see if they got it? Right here, behind me. Left Eye was a super personality like you saw on television. So the moments that we shared together were strange yet fun. I'll tell you one of the most amazing things that she did for me, because I knew her from, you know, the beginning. We did Live Aid events together and things like that. I knew TLC from then. But her closeness with Pop is what brought us together. So when we were in the car one day in California, she said, "I'm getting the vocals from Pac's mother, and I'm going to let you write my part. This is the last time y'all will be able to link up." And so I wrote her verse on the song Untouchable. The I Believe in Me song was the song that bonded us, because when I wrote the song for her and she got the demo, she couldn't believe how much of her life I actually knew and that I put it in a song. And from then on, you know, Mark Pitts made sure that I got, you know, I guess all the love that I could on the album. But working with her, working alongside her, we're standing in the mic together. And it's funny, there was no real social media, so we didn't take videos and pictures, which is totally asinine. But the experience was nothing but genuine. You know, the real her showed up at all times. She's a Gemini like Pac, so there was no times where she was inauthentic. If she was cursing somebody out, I was sitting right next to her. If she was calling people names or talking about struggles with the group, I was right there. Nothing I was not privy to. She was a genuine person. Hold on, to explain this fast. I don't want to be. Yeah, that for me, working with her was just like, honestly, being around a female Pac.
Yeah, I heard many things as well that Lisa Left Eye was just like a female Tupac.
Listen, there's no filter. There's no filter. She had a, and he's gonna. I've said it before somewhere, but he's gonna kill me when I say it. But the producer Rick Rock and I were in the studio working with her, and they had the most heated debate about why she thought homeless people should be able to live on the train. I mean, Lisa was an amazing person, man. She was passionate. I'll say that much. About what she thought.
And also as well, man, like I do want to say, due to the events that are currently going on right now, if you want to pass on this question, by all means you can. But I saw a picture on your Instagram, man, of yourself alongside the amazing DMX. And I noticed as well that the caption actually said that you guys have been friends for a long time, like you said already during this interview, but that he actually asked you to perform at his birthday at School 12. I was wondering, how did you yourself and DMX initially get connected, and what's the story behind that amazing friendship?
So my cousin and I were in college, and I was working on being a Phat bastard, but at the time, I was MC Effect. And because of the way that my rhymes affect MCs, let's not discuss that. That's what happened at that moment. For some reason, in the beginning, I thought that was a great name. I graduated since then, but my cousin was like, "Yo, I know this guy from my hood. He's dope. Y'all should do a joint together." And he put us together, and I picked up X, and he had his son when he was an infant, Xavier. We called him Gerb at the time, like a Gerber baby. He had him with him, and we took him to my man Nick Wiz' studio. Shout out to Nick Wiz. And we did 2 joints there, and we were friends ever since then. You know, we were running into each other, talk about craziness, and it was a simple relationship. It wasn't, a music relationship. Once again, it was a spiritual bond. It was two people that respected each other. So, yeah. Shout out to X, man.
I want to say just, my thoughts and prayers go out to his family as well, man. Like, I really feel that DMX can make it through this, man. He's been through a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? I think he's going to pull through.
Yeah, I pray to the Lord that the Lord continues to bless him, man. We all have struggles, but the good people need to stay here. We all have challenges, but I pray that God has more plans for him.
And also, April 13th of this year, so we're jumping ahead in the timeline here quite a bit, you actually have a new single you were actually featured on titled Honesty that is actually going to be dropping worldwide on April 13th. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about that project, and of course, where can we check it out when it drops to the general public?
Okay, so I've got a hybrid project that I'm working on for myself, and in the interim, I had started to entertain helping other artists. I don't know if you know, but I was on Rakim's last album, The Seventh Seal, on 4 songs, and then I was on another album with him called The Lost Archives, just under my government name, Tracy Horton. So I started really wanting to give back and collab with other artists after the Rakim thing, because when Phat died, I kind of sheltered myself from the world, and Nick Wiz bringing me back into work with Rakim was like my first real effort back into caring about music. So I met an artist from Yonkers, like DMX from Pyrex Flat, and I met him while I was shopping for a TV, and he said, "Oh, I got a demo tape," and he had a CD. He had a demo on CD, and I thought to myself, I remember who I was and what it took for me to get on, and I told myself I would never not take someone's CD. If I could help them, I would. So I took it. I didn't call him until about 8 months later, because one day I popped in the car, and I was like, "Oh, shit, he's fire. Let me call him." And I called him, and he was like, "Well, I had kind of given up on music, but, if you're interested," and then we started working. And he's a super dope artist, man. I think he's on the level of Rick Ross, and he's got the presence of a Biggie and Pun. So for me, I just felt like it was my duty to help the guy. I think his talent is undeniable. I think his determination is undeniable, and that's my duty. Hold on 1 second. The train is fast. So I'm sorry. So we did. He has a single out called "Man Down," which the world is bugging out off of. People on tour everywhere performing this song, and he was on a promo tour, and then COVID hit. So we were trying to find out how we wanted to address this new way of making music and, offering music to the listeners. So Honesty is going to be a real dope song for me, for him to deliver to the public. I'm on the chorus. But what he's talking about is deep to me. He's talking about being honest. When you look me in my face, just tell me what the fuck it is and stop playing fucking games. Like, in any relationship, friendship, business, just be honest. Look me in my eyes and tell me that you mean it. It's the only way I'm going to believe it. So if you're telling me that you really need me, I need your honesty, is what I say on the chorus. So, and that's just where I'm at in my life, and I think all that we've seen during COVID, I think all the fucking world needs is goddamn honesty.
And also, as well, I gotta ask you, Pudgee, what is next for you, man? Because I do know you're still active in music, you're still doing your thing, but is there anything I missed during this interview, anything else you still want to talk about, or let our listeners know while we still have you here live?
Let me tell you something, Immortal. First of all, thank you for taking the time just to ask the right questions. I appreciate this interview because I talk to people and, they talk about a lot. How do you feel about music today? I mean, I'm like, what are you talking about?
No offense, hip-hop isn't really hip-hop anymore, man. It's more just rap. If you want to consider it that rap, but that's my opinion.
You know what? I agree. But the one thing that's unchanging for me is the train pass the whole. Anyway, the one thing that's unchanging for me is the dedication and the work. I can't deny people that are working. I see them working. I see them putting out videos. I see them going to the studio. There's always been people whose music I didn't personally like. And I think that's a human respect thing. I may never listen to your song, but I respect that you're getting out here and you're not living off of somebody else, robbing somebody else. I respect it. You know, there's a lot of records that I would have never listened to that we were on tour with those people. So for me, I'm working with Sweet Tea right now, and that's an honor. You know, she's a legend, the legendary Sweet Tea from It's My Beat and the Herbie Love Bug Camp. And, you know, we're working on her album. She's doing a song right now that I'm on called Don't Play With It. That's going to be her new single. I'm working with a female rapper named Essence from Queens, where Sweet Tea is from, so they got kind of like a sisterly mentoring thing going on. And I'm working with Phat and this girl, Christina Lowe. She sings. You know, and I feel like my job right now is to pay it forward, to help the people the same way that people help me. That's my goal. I don't want to leave this earth, and I didn't get back to the culture, and all I did is take. I don't believe in that.
And I gotta say, those sound like phenomenal projects, but I also gotta say, man, you are most certainly welcome. But I gotta say thank you for giving me a little bit of your time this evening, because I'm gonna tell you, Pudgee, in my personal opinion, man, if an artist takes the time out of their evening or day or afternoon or whichever just to come on your platform and share some stories and whatnot, I believe you should always do the due diligence and do the proper research and ask the right questions, because at the end of the day, you know, this is valuable time out of your career to give not only myself but the listeners, man. So for that, Pudgee, thank you.
No, I appreciate you, bro, for giving me a platform to talk about doing music in this current times. You know, I'm releasing a lot of songs myself. I'm dropping a song every month, so let me put that out there and be very clear. My next singles are called Shootout, Keep a Secret, and Medicine, but they're hybrid. They're not going to be the rap that people know, and I'll come back to some of that, but right now I need to be current because I hate being the old head in the room.
And I gotta say,
I feel like sometimes when you're in China, you gotta speak Chinese.
That's true, man. And I gotta say, I really like the whole like new single every 30 days, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be good to hear some brand new Pudgee.
Nah, and you know what? You're gonna like what you like, and I like that. But the one thing I'm doing is delivering quality music and more. I'm not doing no fuck shit. That's not what I'm here for.
But also, Pudgee, quickly, because I know you're busy, you know, you're out in the streets in New York, you know what I mean, but normally what I do quickly before I wrap things up in the interview, I always give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give shoutouts to whomever they want to give shoutouts to, but most of all, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything Pudgee the Phat Bastard if they're not already doing so.
First of all, again, I appreciate you. I'm going to give shout-outs to every rapper dedicated to what they're doing. I don't care. Every musician, whatever you're doing, if you're putting 10,000% passion into it, I'm ready to collab, work, get on the chorus, help you, mentor, give advice, assist, critique, because I believe that the passion is the most important thing. You know, and as far as the talent, it's up to you and whatever you create through the passion to take you where you are, and that's not my job to critique that. I can only say, here's my advice. This is what you built. Go see if the world wants to buy that. But I can make sure that you package it in a way that the world might pay attention to it. I want to shout out to you for giving real artists a platform and asking, again, the correct questions and fueling the culture with things that people really should know. And outside of that, I want to say what's up to Nitty from the Masters, Alex Richburg, Aisha Hassan, Sweet Tea, Pyrex Phat, Essence, Christina Lowe, DJ Tech One, Kiana the Goddess, she's a publicist, and Kay Ella. Outside of those people, anybody else that really rocks for me, I appreciate you. Please follow me at Pudgee the Phat Bastard, PUDGEETHAPHAT Bastard on everything except for Twitter, which is Pudgee the Phat. I'm on TikTok. I'm on everything. And I'm only posting real content, so I'm not posting silly shit every day. So I'm posting things that I think you need to know so I don't mess up your timeline with garbage. I'm not dancing all over the place because that ain't it. Shout out to everybody who took time to tune into this interview, man, who's interested in real music, because that's all I care about. I don't care about the gossip. I don't care about the fights. All I care about is the music.
And I gotta say, Pudgee, first and foremost, man, thank you so much. Like I told you at the beginning of the interview, I've been a huge fan, you know, for many, many years, man. You know, checking out the Avenue, man, is actually my favorite joint of all time. Still is. I still play it. So thank you for years of amazing music.
I'm gonna try to get another one on your list. I'm gonna try to get another one.
Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's tons of songs by Pudgee the Phat Bastard on my list, man. It's just I always start the Pudgee playlist off with checking out the Avenue because it gets my blood pumping. You know what I mean?
Damn, I appreciate you, bro.
But I gotta say there, Pudgee, I could talk to you all day, man, but at the end of the day, we both got stuff to do. Thank you so much, Pudgee. Have yourself a wonderful night, man, and hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
Nah, you too. Oh, yeah, shout out to Julia Powell, who's riding with me on her bike right now. We on our bikes. So I appreciate you, bro.
Hey, man, most definitely, brother. Have yourself a wonderful night. Thank you so much again, Pudgee.
You too, family.